Man, I'm excited. Like this is it, man. This is try to get to the big show. So I'm really excited, and I think you know, the land jitters, like I want to see who can overcome that, because you know, being on stage is a whole different experience.
All right, guys. Well, it is time to start it off. So how this works to start it off is the soul actually doesn't spawn right from the get-go. So players are going to have an opportunity to go around the map, get their pickups, get their kits sorted out, and then in 5 seconds, at the 20-second mark that you can see at the top middle there, that's when the soul is going to spawn. Now, both the points, they currently don't belong to either team. You can take it to either side, as you see bot mode trying to go in there and grab the soul, loses it initially, but now the red team, it's the team on the right side, Team Johnson, is going to be able to move in. They take it, and it looks like they're going to be able to move to the outside obelisk and take control of it.
Yeah, it looks like they decided on B. A lot of teams like it. You can control from the upper area bridge. You can control. You got a nice access to the heavy armor there, so you can keep your teammates stacked. So it looks like I would imagine they wanted that one right off the bat.
Now, while Team Johnson's going to have control of this obelisk for this round, that'll reset going into the second and thusly third rounds if we need to play that out as well. So starting it off, I mean, clamp just ripping players to shreds right now. Everyone from the side of Totem Teles trying to rush up those bottom steps, but they just got absolutely destroyed. So Johnson's looking okay, and they're inching past the 25% mark now.
Those guys were eating nails like nothing. I mean, geez, he was just hitting those guys, and then a nice little charge kill at the end. Great work by Clamp, man, just cleaning it up down there.
And now to explain what the purpose of that percentage is. Right now, they have the soul inside of their obelisk. This is where it becomes more like capture the flag in defense, is now they have to try and defend it, prevent their opponents from standing on their obelisk for 3 seconds, which then allow them to steal the soul and try to run it to the other side. As you're now going to see, the blue team, Totem Teles, managed to steal the soul. Now they have to take it to the other side of the map, over to the church obelisk, and be able to claim it there so they can start channeling their sacrifice as well.
Yeah, they need to get this back to their obelisk if they can, and they need to gear up, because we got a power-up coming up in about 15 seconds. That quad protection going to pop up, so these teams need to be ready for that, because it's always a game changer.
So we saw there right there, Totem Teles was unsuccessful in actually running the soul back to the other side. They managed to get it off the point again, but they didn't get it very far. You can see the yellow skull icon on the other side of the map right there. It's still very much in the territory for Team Johnson, but more importantly now is we do have the power-up coming back up, so players are going to fight over that, as that's going to give you a lot of control over the map, and we can see that right there. Bot mode was going to be able to take down the player holding control of the quad damage there, and now is going to give it to his own team as more of them push back in, and finally the players from Totem Teles are going to be able to get the soul into their obelisk and start channeling their own obelisk.
Yeah, this quad run should really help if they can keep hold of it the whole time. This should really help them catch up to Team Johnson a little bit right now. For those who don't know, quad damage is exactly 4 times damage, so you're just a wrecking ball when you have this thing.
And you can see bot mode using it right there. He does go down, but that quad is about to expire, so any enemy that picks it up is only going to have it for about 2 or 3 seconds before it is gone. So now the coast is clear. We can see Johnson trying to move back in and take it. Clamp holding the line as his teammate moves in to actually steal it. Clamp doing massive work right now with that LG, and on the skill bearer is going to be able to charge in. Actually misses as he does try to push forward there, but still he's going to be working with his opponent, and he'll be able to push back over towards Obelisk B. But here's the problem. They've taken a long time to get over here, so their opponents are already waiting for them. They're going to be able to secure it more than likely, but they will have to immediately fight back for it. As you can see, they didn't even get it back into their obelisk. Immediately was stolen away by Totem Teles, and now they're taking it back over towards point A.
Yeah, great steal, interception, if you will, by Totem Teles. This is going to help them get back into the game. They definitely don't want to let Team Johnson get some more percentages off, and now that, you know, it was good defense, and we got another power-up in about 30 seconds, so if they can secure the next power-up and play good defense, they might get a nice lead here.
Senas is going to be moving around. He has a nice ability here to try to flank onto Clamp and take him down, but actually his health is kind of low, so Clamp is going to be able to just charge him right down, knock him out. In the meanwhile, though, Johnson once again was able to steal the soul. They run it about halfway across the map, as they're going to be able to take that into point B. At the same time, though, ckap just getting pushed completely out of the map there. No hope for him whatsoever, as a lot of players are going down all over the place. Totem Teles trying to hold control. They did manage to steal it off of the point, tossing it up onto the bridge. There's not really anyone around to immediately retrieve that, though, so it takes a couple seconds before one of their own players can go and get it. And we have another power-up spawn coming in. It's going to be the quad damage, and we have a clutch controlling it currently. Which side is it going to be, though, as it does get dropped, but eventually goes back into the control of Totem Teles. As now, for a second time, they're going to be able to maintain control over a power-up and get the soul back in their obelisk. This power-up is really helping them to stay in the game right now, because of just the general one-on-one fights. It seems like Johnson seems to be dominating a little bit more there.
Yeah, this is huge. You know, if you're Team Johnson, you need to be a little concerned about not picking up these power-ups as a team. These really are important in this team mode, and they can impact, you know, it just totally changes momentum. So they need to do a better job of getting those power-ups for sure.
Be careful with their defense setup here, as there was no one on the point really left to defend it. So Johnson was able to walk right back in, stealing the soul away. And they're going to have a pretty clean run back over to the other side, too. There's going to be some attempts to immediately steal it back, but it looks like they're holding it off. However, the reinforcements are on the way for Totem Teles, so they're trying to get more players in position to go back in and steal this soul away from Obelisk B, but it's not really working out so well. They're kind of sneaking in one by one, not really being given the best chances to do so, and as you can see, most of the attempts have been spited, so while one or two players are going to have to move in, eventually the guys from Totem Teles are going to have to call off this pursuit and regroup to make another attempt as a full team.
Yeah, we got about another 50 seconds to the next power-up, but, you know, Johnson's already at 70%, so they need to make some kind of organized attack, get that soul off there, because I don't think they'll have enough time before that next power-up.
Here comes the push. Yes, now we are 40 seconds away from the power, but here's the thing is Johnson, again, had to leave the point open. They lost too many players too quickly, so their soul's gone. They tried to adventure out, and as there's still the normal power-ups to account for, too, on the game mode that we're playing here. You still have the mega health, you still have the big armor to worry about, so you have to make sure that you're also holding control of that one to keep you in the game, because this is going to get very chaotic very quickly, and you need that extra health to keep you in the fight. And there we go, another attempt from Johnson to steal it, immediately denied though, nicely held by the Totem Teles, and now they're just about to close the gap between themselves and their opponents by about 15% right now, and that's going to go away very, very quickly, but in 10 seconds, we have another power-up spawn coming in, and that seems to be what Johnson is focusing on right now.
Yeah, they really need to get this. I mean, it's enabled Totem Teles to really get back in this game, the first two power-ups, so securing this power-up, I would imagine Team Johnson thinks we need to get this power-up and secure this win, get this round.
I like what the guys from Totem Teles are doing, though. They have pretty much abandoned ship on their Obelisk for the time being, and they focused almost entirely on wading back over towards the other side of the map at Obelisk B, where the guys from Johnson are now going to be pushing towards here. So the power-up is not getting used as much as they would like. They're still going to be able to use it, of course, within the point itself. Nice kill from Sane, by the way. Nice little clutch shot there to take off bot mode. And now he's got to take off the rest of these players that are trying to move in and steal this soul away, but it's not going to happen. So the dreams of Totem Teles are going to get dashed right now. They weren't able to take that lead away. It's Johnson back in control, and they're less than 15% now from winning this round.
Yeah, getting that protection for Team Johnson really helped the defense. Now they're at 90%. They're really close here to closing out this round. They just need a little more defense and just keep these guys from running away with that darn soul.
A last-second clutch toss did keep the soul in the air and allowed for another member of Totem Teles to steal it away, so they've got it. They're going to take it down into the rocket room. They're trying to toss it around, but no one can seem to catch it, so it's going to cause a massive amount of chaos. Clamp gets the choo-choo medal, I believe, as he gets the double kill on the charge, and he's going to be able to take it back into his team's Obelisk. 3% away now, and then Team Johnson's going to be able to take this round at this point. Now the members of the blue team are going to have to keep pushing back in. Totem Teles are going to continuously just try to get this soul off the point or contest it for as long as possible so they can prevent Team Johnson from going up to 100%, but they're running out of players very quickly. They are fighting back. There's trade kills happening all over the place. We have gauntlet kills coming in as well. No one can seem to be able to maintain control for right now, but it is back on the Obelisk, and no, off again, as the enemy has stolen the soul. Totem Teles has gotten it off, and they finally escaped the point, so they're trying to make a run back over to A.
Wow, that was just hectic. I can't believe they got away. I mean, they were just piling on, just trying to keep that 100%, and they somehow got away with that soul. You know, you got to be a little impressed with Totem Teles right now. The resolve, right? Just to get that back and give themselves a chance here.
Nicely done with the charge coming in from botmode there. Unfortunately, he was unable to hold on to his own lifespan for a little bit longer there, and everyone else from Johnson was able to charge through that in just a few seconds. We have players immediately coming in contested. Oh no, Sane! He tossed the soul into the air, but it bounced right onto one of his opponents, so botmode steals it back, and now he's got a free run to the other side. He's going to wait, though, as we do have a power up in the air. Who controls it is the question. I do believe that Totem Teles controls it currently, so they're going to be able to push that over to their point and have a much better time of holding on to point A. They're still about 20% behind what Team Johnson has, but if they can hold on to this now, they could win the round. In a nice charge from botmode just as they were about to lose the quad damage. They do take down their opponent, prevent that soul from being stolen. Very well played for botmode. He's having some heroic plays right now, keeping his team in the game and potentially allowing them to steal this round. They're at 5% away for now from being able to take this one. We'll see if they can do it. Great up-close rocket work from botmode. He's keeping the high ground. He's getting all that intel up, but they're swarming in. They've got the soul. They've stolen it away, but it's back in the hands of Totem Teles now as they're going to take it on to Obelisk A. 99 to 99%. Who's going to win it at the end of the day? These players are dying left and right, but another steal comes out. They're tossing it away very quickly, and now Johnson is running it to the other side.
If people can see my look over here, I am just like staring intensely at this monitor right now. Who's going to win this round? This is just crazy what's going on.
It just keeps going back and forth as now Totem Teles is making the run, and now back again. Clamp get 3 kills in a row, it seems. Carnage getting one with the teleport as well. But the soul going back and forth. You can see it consistently switching between blue and red. No one can seem to control this thing, and there we go again. Botmode steals steals it away just as it was about to get capped. They need to be able to hold this for a few seconds, but once again, back under the control of Johnson as they're trying desperately to get this into the obelisk. Intercepted midair just as it was about to go inside of the obelisk. And now it's in a neutral zone, but Johnson, they're going to get it. They missed the toss. No! The player that was trying to pick it up just dropped it. So now it goes back into, I don't even know whose hands at this point, as we can see Carnage, nicely done, getting that Dire Orb out there so that he can steal it away, but sane doing the same thing just seconds later. And now he tosses it away. The Sorlag from the side of Johnson is trying to get it back into the obelisk so bad. They finally succeed, and they're holding it off, but a clutch is going to move in. He's got that shield pop. He's delaying the final cap to be able to sacrifice the obelisk now. And now, once again, stolen by the guys from the Totem Teles, but they're not going to get very far. It heads back over into obelisk B, and it looks like they may finally be getting control. A few stragglers here from the blue side from Totem Teles are attempting to stop it, but it's not looking like it's going to happen. They're going down left and right. They just need to stay on it for a few seconds, and finally, Team Johnson will get that sacrifice and claim round one.
Wow, so much to say about the last 90 seconds to 2 minutes. I mean, they were both 99%. It was in the balance. Nobody could get that one. They were delaying, and it was trading hands so much that another power-up came up, and that actually secured it for Team Johnson. They got the protection and really helped, get that defense and get that last 1%. But wow, just what a round.
Well, it is time to go right back into the action. That was only one round of all this combat here. It's time to jump right back into it here now for round two, as the Soul is going to be spawning in about 5 seconds. Clamp had already made a nice start to his run here with the super machine gun and being able to move it. He's going to do it for this charge strike, and it works, and he not only gets the Soul, but he gets a kill too, and using the charge. Nice way to combo the abilities together, and he's going to be able to easily swing over towards Obelisk A this time. Team Johnson is going to switch it up a bit.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't like how that was going, or you know what, it seems like this is a little closer proximity to the power-up. Maybe they felt this will help with their power-up control, because I think if they do a better job on the power-ups this game, it shouldn't be that close. It really shouldn't. They shouldn't let another team get so many power-ups. As a team, I'm sure they're a little, a little upset about that.
Clamp having a little bit of trouble with his machine gun work there, so he's not able to immediately stop the Soul from being taken away. It does cost them a couple of percent. Thankfully, they quickly get it back under their arms, so they still have that going. A couple stragglers right now from Totem Teles is attempting to steal it away, but they're having a lot of trouble just getting into that site to begin with. Nicely shot by carnage. Great whale work there. It's going to keep most of these offenders back for a little bit here. And they still have a while before the power even spawns. Carnage is showing off now as he's able to use the Dire Orb there. Completely counters out the charge and takes out his opponent.
Yeah, nothing impressive. Four rails in a row, and then the nice little, telefrag with the Dire Orb. I mean, just as the coup de grace, I mean, Carnage seems to be in a little bit of a zone right now. Look at these shots.
And Carnage almost solo just on his own. Of course, his teammates are helping out with it too, but there's some beautiful work being done. Look at this, they're almost already at 50%, and we're only a minute and a half into this round so far here. They're just ripping them to shreds. Another kill for Carnage, as he's just completely destroying everyone from the Totem Teles side. But they're not going to be able to hide inside for so long anymore. Carnage can continue to go on this killing spree, get as many frags as he wants, but eventually him and the rest of his teammates do now need to move out and look to pick up the power-up, and that's exactly what they're doing. They also have to do a dual work now, as they've got to look to be able to defend the site too, but they're doing a great job, and look who's going to be the player to pick up the quad as well. It's Carnage. This is probably the best bet for them, as he can do some work. They slid a little bit of trouble right now. Now he needs to actually get some health, as he's down to 34 HP, and there's not a lot of health to pick up in this room.
Yeah, I would imagine they were a little upset about that power. You can see they made a much more concerted effort to make sure they're on top of that power-up. Defense is looking good. Having a much stronger showing here in round two for Team Johnson.
It's a good thing they did lose Carnage towards the end there, but they were able to recover the quads, and they still hold that power-up, and that power might be what ends up allowing these guys to pretty easily push through here in round two and actually win out this map. Nicely done. The double kill from Sane as well. There you go, shutting these guys down. And well, Totem Teles definitely not going to be feeling too good about the way this round played out, considering just how close they were back in round one. It seemed like they kind of got broken here. And at the moment, this second round is just absolute domination. Another soul steal. That's only the second one they've managed to achieve so far. However, it looks like they're actually going to be able to make it outside of the obelisk room this time, but getting it across the map is going to be the tougher part, as we do see an accidental toss into one of the members of Team Johnson.
Yeah, it does seem like Team Johnson's settling in a little bit, really starting to punish Totem Teles. So they got to make some kind of adjustment, maybe get a steal if they can. I mean, it's really close. With 91%, it's going to be tough. They need a steal, they need good defense, and they need the power up. They need a lot of things to go right for them to somehow pull out this round.
Nice plays from bot mode there. Got that double kill on the Rockets. However, Clamp with a greater charge is able to move in. He won't survive the encounter, but at the very least ran it a long way back and is doing a great job of preventing the Totem Teles from being able to pick up any percentage on their own regard there, as they're still attempting to run it back over to point B, which they've just now finally succeeded in. But even so, we immediately have players from Team Johnson moving in to completely overwhelm them and steal that Soleil, which they're going to do. However, Senas, 2 kills, going for a third as well. Here he will go down to clamp, but again, that's going to waste more time as he got it back into the obelisk. That's another 3-second channel that the members of Johnson have to do to get it off again.
Yeah, that was some good rocket work by Sen to delay there. I don't know if it'll make the difference here. Johnson still got it, was able to steal, but we got a power up here, so maybe they can get this power up for Totem Teles and keep the momentum going in their way.
There's the quad. We can see Senas trying to sneak back in there and take down the initial carrier of the quad, but didn't work out. Wasn't even the player with the quad that took it down. Members of Johnson able to channel a little bit more. Nicely done from bot mode. Maybe a little bit of an unnecessary charge. It actually messed him up. He couldn't figure out where he was there. The terrain was blocking him, so Necrophage just ends up getting it back, but another telefrag comes out from Senas. However, once again, Johnson controlled the power-ups this time, so they weren't able to steal it back. They've got it on their point with that quad still in check. Unfortunately, clamp's not going to be able to pierce through that shield, but at the very least, he can knock out most of his teammates and make hunting down this last player a little bit easier.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's going to be really hard for Totem Teles to come back, but if they are going to do it, one, obviously good defense. You know, they can't let Team Johnson get this thing, and they have to get every single power-up that's coming up right now. They can't afford any mistakes.
The members of Johnson are actually going to be hurting a little bit here. I mean, you could see a clamp just picking up the soul on his own. He's going to toss it over to a teammate because he's way too low to be able to continue fighting. He's only got about 50 HP, so it's not going to be too hard, as you saw there for ckap to be able to knock him out. Carnage doing a great job supporting those teammates, and now, same situation again here. They're at 99%. Players are attempting to steal it away unsuccessfully so far, but they've got a lot of men on the point. Carnage getting another telefrag there by using the dire orb, and they cap it once again. Looks like they've cleared it out, and they should be able to inch up to 100%. That last 1% does take a little bit longer sometimes because they can contest it, but ultimately Team Johnson is going to take it, and with that, they take map number 1 in a 2-0 fashion.
Yeah, I think Team Johnson should feel much more pleased with the round 2 performance. I think, you know, it was good defense. Controlled the first power-up. I mean, it's sacrifice, especially if you play good defense early on and you keep them away from stealing soul and you can secure that first power-up, which comes in at 2 minutes. If you do all that, I mean, you're already going to have a pretty substantial lead by the time that first power-up wears off. And I think Johnson just got off to a good start and just kept rolling after that.
And a great map from Clamp as well, who actually led the entire map in frags as far as I can see there with 54 over the course of both of those rounds. Johnson not too far behind at about 42 I think he had, but Johnson definitely taking quick control of map number 2, or round number 2. You can see that I think they made a mistake trying to go for the outside obelisk first, the one over there in sort of the longer corridor, instead of going for the church obelisk, the one they chose in the second round. As that worked a lot better for them. As you were mentioning, it let them have closer proximity to the power-up, and that let them have much better control. They were kind of struggling with that in round 1 because they had to go so far out to be able to claim that. They did have better access to some of the power-ups, but unfortunately losing control of the power-up itself so many times did make that first round go as close as it is, but choosing the different obelisk in round 2 made it a lot easier for them to lock things down and take it in a dominant fashion. I think it was 100 to around 11 to 15% for their opponents on that round.
Yeah, they definitely seem more comfortable with the other obelisk. It makes you wonder, maybe the first round, was it just a proximity thing? Enemies, you know, chasing him, so he's just like, you know, I'm just going to take it to this obelisk because this is what we're going to get, or is there, I would like to know what their preference is. It seemed like the second time when they had a little more time and space, they really chose that other obelisk. And then I think, you know, I would imagine there was some discussion about, quick discussion about the power-ups. You know, they really kind of dropped the ball on the power-ups in round 1 that let Totem Teles kind of stay in that game. So I think they did just made a much more concerted effort of good defense and make sure we're all there for the power-up as a team. Everybody has to be there.
Well, you can see now we've already gotten past the champion selection screen, and now we are going to be jumping back into our second map, which, as you can tell from those monitors there, is going to be the Ruins of Sarnath. Different maps, that means different strategies could potentially come into play as well here. Yeah,
again, the obelisk, it's interesting because one obelisk is very kind of open, and then you have the other one which has more of an elevated position around the super nail gun. And I don't know what the teams, it seems to me the super nail gun one seems to be a little easier to defend because there's some more corridors and stuff where you can hide as a defense and not just be sniped from range. So I'm curious to see again what obelisk these teams you know, choose and how the defense works. You know, so everybody has different defensive plans. You need to send 3 back and have 1 roaming. You have to do a 2-and-2 formation. There's a lot of different ways to work strategy and sacrifice.
Generally, from the experience that I've had on watching this map so far being played, this map tends to be a lot more. The teams tend to be a lot more sort of gung ho with the way they play if they need to go on the offense and actually steal the soul away because of how much more open this map is. Especially on the obelisk that's floating right by where the super nail gun is that you guys are going to see in a moment. It's the one that you were talking about at more of an elevated position because it is in such an open area. Usually, what players do is they'll go in, they'll steal it, and they'll immediately just toss it as far as they can into the middle pit where the lobby where the railgun usually spawns.
Yeah, that's a strategy for stealing, absolutely. You get the soul and you just throw it either in the pit, or you've seen them sometimes they'll throw it over the archway to a teammate who's waiting in a quick run to the other obelisk. So yeah, the passing the soul, that kind of the baton pass, if you will, like in running, it's a key aspect of this mode.
Well, we are starting it off, and it's the same as the previous map. The soul won't spawn for the first 20 seconds. It's at that 20-second mark there is when it comes in, and when we are going to see these players brawling for it. ckap specifically is trying to hold things off. As you'll note, the colors have switched too. Johnson's now going to be playing for the blue side. Totem Teles is going to be over on the red side. And they actually get a pretty clean grab to start things off. Problem is, they leave that soul just sitting on a little bit of a skirmish to be able to get control. ckap tried to back out, failed in doing so. He goes down, but clamp was able to take the soul up for him, and now we're just going to take it over to the other side. This is not the obelisk they wanted, but at the very least, they're going to be able to get a pretty safe initial cap.
Yeah, it looks like they, saw the enemy defense at the other one, and you didn't want to risk losing. So, why not just get it early, get the obelisk ticking in your favor, and just do the best you can on defense here. I'm sure it's not the one they wanted based on how they were playing. Looks like they really wanted that other one.
Nice steal coming in from one of the members of Totem Teles that their Anarchy was able to swing back in. Unfortunately, ran into a huge mob of players from Team Johnson, so they took it right back. But it was a good attempt, and it showcases the different styles that you can use to actually move in and steal a soul away too. You can try to be kind of stealthy about it and use an Anarchy or a Nyx to kind of move in and sneak it in from the backlines, or you can just go straight in with something like Clutch, pop the shield, have that free 2 to 3 seconds, just like this that we're seeing now. Clamp's going to attempt to counter that, but apparently he killed himself there, a little bit too close in the rockets, unfortunately. So Totem Teles is going to be able to move in, and I believe they'll get the steal going here.
Yeah, that actually seems to be a pretty common strategy. Bring in the clutch, pop the shield, have him sit on the point, and once he gets it, he throws it out to his Anarchy or whatever runner they may have for their team.
So we will see that soul successfully taken to the other side. Much better this time for the Totem Teles to at the very least start capping their own when Johnson was only at about 30% or so. This is going to become problematic though, is that if they leave that point very ill-defended and allow for Team Johnson to constantly steal it away, they're never going to be able to channel much here. You can see Clamp trying to fight against Senas, but Senas with a nice toss is going to send it right back over to the other side here, and they'll complete the recap, putting it back on Totem Teles' B obelisk so they can try to cap it more. But now the power-up spawn is coming in, and the members of Totem Teles are trying hard to fight for that so that they can keep it. That's going to bring a lot of attention off their points, and we can see here right now, Carnage, I believe that is, ripping players to shreds. 3, 4 kills before he finally goes down to theJeffreh, giving him control over that quad damage.
Yeah, nice steal by Jeffreh, although Carnage definitely put in some work before he went down with that quad. But this could be really big for them. If they control this quad until it expires, they should probably tie this up, I would think.
Yeah, they got a good 10 to 15 seconds off on that quad after they were able to take down Carnage with them. You can see the power of it right there. A long-range sniper rocket from theJeffreh. Didn't even make a full connection, was only about a third of the damage that it could potentially do, but it just completely ripped to shreds an opponent there. And now with that power-up going mostly under the control of the Totem Teles, they were able to take control of the lead here, but it's going to be a delicate one, as now you see Johnson moving in to steal the soul. They're going to take the long route going through the Mega Health room, wrapping around the other side. Nice spit from bot mode, completely takes down ckap, but unfortunately, although bot mode goes down, the players from Team Johnson are going to be able to count the soul back over on Obelisk A.
Yeah, good defense right now needed from Johnson. Again, that power-up, the power-up control, they got it early, but Carnage was kind of by himself, and Totem Teles really ganged up on him and was able to steal it and got some good defense of their own because of it. So if you're Johnson, again, you got to do a better job with the power-ups. It's really allowing Totem Teles to push them here.
So all 4 players from Team Johnson are focused on defense right now. That power-up's still got another 30 seconds until it does come back and spawn back in. However, here comes problems as Totem Teles are being able to push through the defenses a little bit here. theJeffreh sitting on the outside. He was still waiting for that rail to go up, so we're going to have a bit more of a stack to actually push back in with the rest of his teammates. And there you go. They wipe the defenses clean off the board, and they're going to be able to steal that soul away and make a run.
Yeah, they got to be... Ooh. Both teams here, it's always interesting because the soul's like in the balance right now, so you don't want to just completely ignore it, but at the same time, we've got the power-up coming right now, so you need to have some team presence there.
And there are people starting to move in to actually fight over that one now. We've got players from Totem Teles and Johnson. It does appear as though Johnson's going to be able to move back in and get control over it, but let's see who actually got that power-up pickup. Not entirely sure who managed to get it yet. It's looking like a player from Johnson has it. It'll be the protection this time, as Clamp, I think, has it. He's going to be able to move back in, having a lot more pressure. And actually, the power-up switching sides a little bit here. It's currently under the control of Carnage, though. He was able to get that. He's got it built up for himself. Now, Carnage is going to lose some of his teammates here, so a lot of this is on him to be able to hold off to this soul, keeping it under his own control. Bot mode just trying to stay away from Carnage. You can see him trying to go for the gauntlet there. It didn't work out, and due to the heroics there from bot mode and theJeffreh, they weren't able to hold on to that soul for a little bit longer here, but it is, as you were mentioning before, still very much kind of in the balance with neither team having solid control. But it's on Totem Teles' obelisk, so they're channeling anyway, and they've got the lead going for themselves again. For how long, though, is going to be the question.
Yeah, it's just looking very similar to round 1 in the last map, which is going back and forth right now. Totem Teles got a good first quad run, but looks like Johnson did get the most out of the second power up. You know, considering they secured it a little bit, you know, I think Totem Teles still has the lead right now, so wow, I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to Totem Teles for pushing Team Johnson right now. We got another power up in about a minute, which I think is going to be critical.
Players from Johnson here getting overwhelmed. They need to group back up a little bit more. They're still going in super small numbers, just trying to get the soul off of the obelisk and then toss it away. They're probably going to be able to succeed in that this time, but they may immediately lose it on the toss back. That's why Clamp is going for this charge now, so that he can make sure that they secure it, getting it into their obelisk, and there you go. They're just going to tag it, and they'll be able to get the cap finally. But now they've all got to run back. They've got to get on defense. They still 30 seconds plus until the next power up one comes back in. And it looks like players from Johnson were able to make it back to the obelisk just in the nick of time here, as we also have the offense starting to move back in from Totem Teles here too. So 1 or 2 more players are going to try to move in and steal this soul away. Bot mode, ooh, almost got it there, but unfortunately the LGs came in at the last second, ripped in the shreds. ckap moving in, doesn't have the shield up, but he's going to get it in a second. That's going to be too late though, as he jumped in just a little bit prematurely there. If he waited a second or two, he would have had that shield up, and he probably would have had a much better chance of actually stealing it away. And now the players from Johnson are moving out as they want to focus on that power up. That's going to be spawning right about now, and players from Totem Teles are going to be resisting that too. And look at this from theJeffreh, just moving in, double gauntlet kills for him. And as a result of that, his teammates are going to be able to get control over the power up.
Yeah, this is huge for Totem Teles. Getting the protection, very powerful in Sacrifice. You're very hard to take down with that thing. Look at him, just putting in work right now.
Barely taking any damage at all. He's able to easily just bully his way through his opponents there. Getting this soul, beautiful rocket jumps too, and the LG from his opponent, well, it's helping him out. It's helping him soar through the skies and cap that soul, as it's going to go back under the control of his own team into Obelisk B. As they're close behind again, it's another neck and neck match. They're at 73% as their opponents sit up at 81.
Yeah, great. That's a great illustration of the LG push there. I gotta say, that looked really cool.
Sure, Sena's like that too.
Oh man, in the bound. Man, this really is like the first map, round 1. I think Johnson again needs the power-ups are really helping Totem Teles out quite a bit. It seems like you said, individual combat. You know, we know Johnson. You know, individually, each of these players are really talented, but you got to get Totem Teles. You know, the cohesion, the teamwork here, securing the power-ups, and really pushing Team Johnson.
And you'll note too, of course, I like the strategy from Senas, not only just getting up here so that he can have sort of just a sniper's nest to play from, but previously when he was actually waiting in the middle area there for things to, for the soul to actually get stolen so that he could toss it back. Now they didn't have someone sitting here that time, and that was part of the problem, is that the players from Team Johnson were able to easily run it back over to their obelisk. This is really a last-ditch attempt from Team Johnson that they've got to be careful, as they can very easily get stolen away if they're not paying attention. As now we see more members from Totem Teles just down to 1 or 2. They did get that steal, but thankfully they took down the carrier just a second later and were able to immediately recap it. Now, the final members of Totem Teles are trying to move in to prevent Team Johnson from stealing this round away. It was all their Totem Teles control again, and we're going to have both teams at 90%. The final players trying to port back in so they can attempt to steal this soul away. There's the clutch over the top. It's not going to happen, and they're at 99% now. Just a few more moments, and there you go. It's Team Johnson that's going to steal it out of the hands of Totem Teles in round 1.
Yeah, nice little comeback there for Johnson. It didn't start out well for them, and you know, they got it together. And it was interesting to see some of the coordination. You know, like when Clamp barely got away and he was being pursued heavily by the Totem Teles team. I like how you see all of a sudden it's like, oh, Team Johnson. You see everybody just gravitate back to the obelisk. All of a sudden he had support and defense, and you know, it really helped. That steal probably really helped them a lot because they got some good ticks off of that and started to even it up.
Well, Carnage, unfortunately, is going to go down quite quickly at the beginning of this second round here now. And just a little opening skirmish, though. Respawns come in relatively quickly, so the deaths don't matter as much in this game, but obviously they do in duel and whatnot there. But as the soul spawns, it's looking like Team Johnson's going to be able to get control over it and quickly capping it. And the same obelisk as before, they just take it quickly over towards A, and they're able to get a nice, sweet cap there, and they're already channeling up towards 10%.
I'm wondering if we're going to get a repeat. Maybe they settle in round 2, or are we going to get another back and forth
That's
nail
the question,
biter?
right? It took Johnson a little bit to kind of adjust to how the map was working for them back in our first map. And the same thing seems to have kind of happened here on map number 2, as they didn't really get their initial choice of Obelisk and whatnot, and they had to change up their strategy a little bit. But this time they went straight back over to Obelisk B. So I'm wondering if they've adjusted a little bit more to it now, and they now have a better game plan to play off of this Obelisk instead of focusing on A, or excuse me, instead of focusing on Obelisk B as they were before. But there's the first steal, not too successful. It immediately goes back onto the point. Jeffreh trying to get it away. There's the quick toss that I was talking about one before we started the map that a lot of players are going to be trying to do here, just going in one by one. If they can get lucky and steal the soul away, they're just going to toss that thing as far as they can.
Yeah, Johnson's starting off really good, similar to the last map. You know, round 1 was close. Round 2, Johnson's having a great start. You know, if they secure this power up with good defense, it's going to be really hard for Totem Teles to come back.
There's ckap now moving in with his own teammates. He's going to be able to successfully steal the soul as they take out all the defenders. Not before they get to 40% of their channel list. That's a really good first initial run for the guys on Johnson, and now it's going to be Totem Teles' turn as they've just gotten their first cap.
Yeah, that was an important steal for Totem Teles. If you're Totem Teles coming back, they want the steal and the power up right now to kind of even things out. So they need to keep it on their end, though. This is Team Johnson getting it back. This next power up is Team Totem Teles really needs this next power up.
It is going to be coming up, but there's a lot of players focusing on running the soul right now. So Totem Teles might not have the manpower to be able to go in and take that power up if they may get this cap. But yeah, they only have 1 or 2 guys there to fight for the power up. So the members of Team Johnson are going to be able to run away with that, and that means they can easily move in and start assaulting towards the second obelisk and be able to steal it away for themselves again.
Yeah, it'll be tough. I can't state it enough. You know, the power-ups in the team mode is crucial. You got to be there together. It's almost to the point where, unless they're ready to actually sacrifice the obelisk at some point, the soul kind of takes, you know, it's not really as important.
And you got a great example of just how powerful the protection power-up is right there as well, with one of our guys spamming the LG onto the player with protection. Those little ticks are only hitting for 1. Normally they hit for 7, so you can just see how much the damage gets reduced and how much you can really just stand in the fight and eat all that up if you really want to. Obviously you're not completely invulnerable, but it certainly helps keep you alive, and that's a nice job from sane, able to move in, gets that kill with the dire orb, and immediately denies the soul run too.
Yeah, that was key. Like, they're making a good little comeback right now. They needed some momentum. They were down. Team Johnson was 39% to 0 to start off. So this is a nice little comeback here from Totem Teles. Good defense. Get the power up. Johnson's been struggling a little bit securing those power ups as a group. So Totem Teles still in this game for sure.
Absolutely, and they're getting pretty close to closing the gap. They're only about 7% behind. Another steal. Are they going to be able to make it off the platform? They are, but that Sorlag is taking a lot of damage. Nice rail shots coming out from Jeffreh, but apparently better speed from the Sorlag as Jeffreh's going to leap in. Like I said before, he should have that Sorlag relatively low, so he's looking to need 1 or 2 more shots, but no. The cavalry arrives for Team Johnson as they get more of their players in, but not before the steal comes back out. But I don't think they're getting very far with it. Team Johnson has a nice little death ball rolling right now, so it's going to be very hard to get past it. They've got to do it slowly and try to breach his defense. As Carnage gets another kill with the slip game.
Oh, wow. Good work by Carnage there. Nice shotgun work, and then the humiliation for, you know, just for the fans.
And the 5,000 damage on it too, let's not forget that. So he's on a roll right now. As we do the power spawning, it's changed hands 3 times already since it spawned. And now it looks like it's finally going to go back under the control of, I believe, Team Johnson. So they're going to be able to pick that back up. And actually, no, hold on. Yeah, Team Johnson has it, but it goes down. So now it's back in the wins again. And I believe a member of Totem Teles was able to pick that one back up. So they're going to be able to use it. Necrophages took out the player trying to steal the soul, but he immediately knocked him out a moment later. In bot mode, well, just spamming now because if he can get that damage off, you can see how much it's going to do. 40 per tick there. So it's really just a spam into the doorway to punish anyone that's going to attempt to push through that. Bot mode, now with control over the soul, should be able to run it over into his team's obelisk, but they want to wait because they know that members of Team Johnson were going to try to meet them there. So it would be a little bit foolhardy if bot mode just went right in on his own, as it would almost immediately get stolen back. They want to push back in as a group so they can make sure that they actually defend it properly.
That's actually a really good delay from Team Johnson, even though Totem Teles really had a lot of time on the quad. Considering how long it took them to get the soul back to their obelisk, they really get much benefit from it, honestly. So good work by Johnson to minimize the effectiveness of that quad.
Bit of a mistake from Carnage that you're trying to cross the soul into the obelisk. He did miss it a little bit, so now the soul goes back into the hands of Totem Teles. The Sorlag for Totem Teles is doing an excellent job of really just having great movement speed to be able to avoid a lot of members of Team Johnson. That's part of the skill that gets carried over from some of the other game modes like Duel and whatnot, is if you have the ability to move quickly around the map on someone like a Sorlag or an Anarchy, that comes in great here, and with your ability to soul running across the map quickly without even being hit by your opponents.
Yeah, there's definitely, you know, having dual experience. It doesn't necessarily translate completely to team modes, obviously, because as we mentioned earlier, you got to have some of that team cohesion, and you got to kind of put your personal egos aside for the better team. But yeah, individual skill. I mean, it absolutely matters in this game. As we say, this is a skill game here.
ckap just nicely done with the rail work here, defending his teammates, and he's going to toss the ball, so that'll be able to take it right over here inside of obelisk A. Less than 20% to go now until his team wins it out, and they're going to kill most of this offending force. ckap just really lucky to be alive right now. A whiff of the wind would knock him out, but he's going to have to stick around and stay alive for a little bit longer as the power-up spawn is coming in right about now. We'll get to see who controls it initially. Looks like a member of Johnson was able to pick it back up, but it's changing hands again multiple times. No one able to get in bot mode, just knocking out the carrier of it. So who's going to pick it up? Is it sitting right over the mega health?
Yeah, just kind of sitting there in the open. Nobody was around after that. I like that we were on ckap's view because we saw how low he was, and it just shows the importance of being there as a team for those power-up spawns. He had 7 health. He still went there and got himself into the fight because, yeah, you just need to be there for your teammates, man. You got to support them.
And we can see the great movement coming out from members of Johnson again. botmode didn't even realize the soul went directly past him. He still has that quad for a couple more seconds. You can see him dispatching of players left and right. He's going to get the soul as well just as his power-up expires. He's definitely going to want to hand that off to a teammate, though, or get that thing inside of the obelisk quickly, as unfortunately he's sitting pretty low. Just waits outside of the portal. Almost going to kill by that strat, too. Didn't work out for him, though. As like I said before, he was very, very low, so it's pretty easy to knock him out, get him on the respawn there. And now, members of Johnson, well, they had to use a lot of their own players just to be able to steal that soul, only to miss the toss over the wall and have theJeffreh bring it right back over here to his team's obelisk.
Yeah, Johnson has to be really careful right now. You know, that even though they're at 97%, if Totem Teles defends here, there'll be maybe one more power-up. If they secure that, they could steal this round.
Yep. So with that, it's going to be spawning in 45 seconds, the next power. That can prove to be very important. sane. Nicely done, though. Denying the theft once again and doing work with just a normal shotgun. He's got a pretty unimpressive kit for that fight, but somehow was still able to hold it off and picks up a double kill in the process. Beautiful stuff from sane.
Yeah, very impressive. Aggressive work. Came in with the dire orb, got the telefrag, and then whipped out the normal shot. Whipped out the boomstick and took another guy out.
I love all the usage of the gauntlet here because players know how high speed this is going to be, and with the fact that it's 4v4, you could easily run into a player without even realizing it there. So a lot of these guys, they're just running around with the gauntlet in hopes that they can use the high speed to just rip them to shreds as soon as they accidentally run into some of these guys. The soul, though, has been taken back over to obelisk A as Johnson gets it once again, and now there's the few seconds away from channeling it up to 100 and winning out this map. We've got a power-up spawn, but there's no one there from Totem Teles as they're focused on contesting. So clamp's going to get that for free. The soul gets stolen, but not for long as clamp is just taking players down one by one at range here. Now that he's able to control the quad, no one from the side of Totem Teles is even going to get close, and with that, Johnson's going to get their second sacrificed obelisk, and they'll win this map 2-0 and take the series 2-0 as well.
Yeah, nice win for Team Johnson. Totem Teles was really in a tough spot for that last power-up because Johnson's at 99%. They really can't focus on the power-up. You saw Clamp just sitting there by himself. They had to keep rushing. Team Johnson seemed to know